Sure, you can read about the steel mills and hear stories about the mammoth equipment inside them, but there's no substitute for seeing it firsthand.
Probably the single most uttered word when somebody comes through that door is wow.
Inside the Steel Heritage Museum on Hubbard Road in Youngstown sits the Todd engine, a large steam engine that drove a steel roller at Youngstown Sheet and Tube's Briar Hill plant. Director Rick Rowland started the museum to preserve not just the stories of the steel industry, but also some of the equipment.
What this engine does and what we do around here is basically, it's a place for telling the stories of the development of the Mahoning Valley as a steelmaking center. And so you can come here, and when we say, oh, this stuff was big and heavy, you can actually see, yes, it is big and heavy.
And as the Steel Heritage Museum celebrates the Valley's steel industry, so the Museum of Ceramics celebrates the pottery industry that put East Liverpool on the map.
This is the pottery capital, and that has to do with the fact that we had abundant resources of yellow clay, and we attracted some English potters, some trained English potters, beginning with the Bennett Brothers pottery in 1839.
Museum Director Sarah Webster Vaudry says her favorite pieces are those made in the late 19th century.
We were making white pottery, but it was still a time when there was a whole lot of hand decoration. I would say that was the height of the decorative era.
And while the collection at the Steel Heritage Museum isn't as numerous as the ceramics museums, it's not limited to the Todd engine.
And above my head is a overhead crane, electric overhead crane. It was built in 1893 in Alliance. So what we could tell, it's the oldest electric overhead crane in the country still surviving. Outside of the building, we have 2 railroad locomotives and a hot metal car. The hot metal car was built by Pollock in Youngstown.
So why do Rowlands and Vaudry feel it's important these items are preserved?
That really goes back to the whole question of why is history important? And if you can understand why history is important, then you can understand why we do this. This is just the physical manifestation of history.
We can look back on these hardworking English potters, and I mean, they just pretty much left their home countries and came to this country and had faith in themselves that they could make a new life for themselves, and they did. I'm a 6th generation descendant of English potters, and I'm amazed at the diligence, the heart, the faith that they had to give up everything they had, move to another country, and start afresh.
When they come in, they see it, that they're curious. I can tell them the story behind how it was built. We can show them some of the technology and all that. And I think people get a better understanding of their own history by coming here.
The Ceramics Museum is open Tuesday through Saturday. The Steel Heritage Museum is by appointment only.